Literally, as I was sitting down to film this video, the UPS man dropped this off on my doorstep. A little Virginia wine, some chocolate from my wedding planner because I had to redo my registry. And Zola was being really annoying. She said, "Zola be dumb sometimes. This is here to help." Katie. Love you, legend. Love this for me. Okay, greetings loved ones and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the wedding planning video. Your one go-to source for if you are currently planning a wedding, wanting to plan a wedding in the future or dream of one, or really if you just enjoy hearing about weddings, you have absolutely no plans on getting married anytime soon, you just find this stuff interesting, this video is the one for you to watch today. I am going to be using this as one resource for you guys to go to, especially if you are not hiring a wedding planner and you want to understand what I have done through having a wedding planner, through doing some stuff myself, who in my family is involved in my planning process, and all of the kind of little nitty-gritty details, okay? And kind of for the timeline of this video, I'm probably gonna be chaptering it off to give you a bit of an outline of what I talked about at certain times. So when you come back to this in the future, you can be like, oh, okay, I am having trouble with picking ceremony details. Go to the chapter about the ceremony. You know what I mean? But I also wanted to start off just giving you guys a little bit of backstory on my engagement, how long I've been engaged, and when we wanted to have the wedding and kind of the beginning details. And then I'll go into where I was when I started planning and where I am now before going into each chaptered category. Okay, so that's kind of the outline. So, little background, I got engaged on Christmas Eve of 2020. So December 23rd, 2020. And as soon as he popped the question, we had been met with questions as soon as we got home, being like, so when's the wedding? When is it happening? What are you putting on your registry? Everything just happened so fast and we were like, damn, I just want to drink my wine and hang out a second. Like, wow, okay. And not to mention there was no vaccine at that time. So I wouldn't say it was grim, the reality of the pandemic and planning a wedding during a pandemic at that time, but we were just like, let's not even worry about it right now. Let's just enjoy our engagement, okay? So we did. And then as soon as we got vaccinated, we were like, might start planning some trips, maybe figuring out, you know, some wedding details, having our families meet, because our families, they both live on the East Coast, but up until last June, they had never met before. So we planned a trip for our families to meet. And also on that same trip, I purchased my wedding dress from Ann Barge, and that was literally the last time that I made an entire dedicated video about wedding planning on this channel. And I've just been talking about it on my live streams on Twitch because I'm on there 3 times a week. We talk about the wedding a lot. And then I've also made one wedding planning video on my Patreon. But I just figured I would make this one video for everybody out there on the internet to go back and watch on the old YouTube. So my first tip is to buy your wedding dress first. In my experience, it got me very excited for the whole process of planning, because planning, especially a big wedding, is a process. We're inviting 214 right now, and I'm expecting about 160 to show up because of pandemic things, inviting a lot of out-of-towners, West Coasters. We're getting married in Virginia, travel. You know, some people don't want to get into all of that right now. I understand. So we're anticipating a cute 160. They normally say that 20% of your guest count doesn't show up, and we're accounting for a little bit more than that. But hopefully more people can come than that, and I'll be pleasantly surprised. But yes, I got my wedding dress when I was home in Atlanta. My mom and my sister came with me. I'm going to be throwing some random questions from Instagram and Patreon into this video because I kind of got 2 sources just to see what people really wanted to know the most. So the number 1 question I got for the dress process was, how did you know your dress was the one? And it's funny because when I was leaving the store, I actually had 2 dresses in mind. One of them was more like tight fitting to the body and giving sexy, giving sleeve. And the other one I was envisioning getting sleeves added onto it. So it was kind of hard to be looking at a tank top dress and be like, what are the sleeves even gonna look like if we're doing custom made lace sleeves? And it was kind of a struggle for me to like see it, but I loved the detailing on it so much that I was like, God, you know, I love every aspect of that. It's like so textured and beautiful, and there's so many aspects, and it's really giving me the, you know, aesthetic of the event, which is kind of woodland, outdoor, botanical, fairy vibes. And so I was like, damn, do I go for that one or like giving sexy wife, you know? And I went home and I marinated on it. And I also sent a video of me in the dress to a couple of besties, and they were all like, I mean, you know what the dress is, and it's the one that goes with the botanical theme. I just liked the other one a lot too because it was very like tight fitting on my body and it was looking very curvilicious and I was enjoying what I saw. Anyways, a lot of people asked me if I had like a dream dress in mind when I went into the store, and I really didn't. My only requirements were it wasn't too poofy, sparkly, or too much boob, you know? There's like a fine line of boob. And then once I was trying on dresses, I was like, I kind of want long sleeve. Not like restrictive long sleeve, but like giving a little air to the armpits a little bit, but you know, maybe some detailing lower in the forearm section. I just love an elegant sleeve. So that was really, I guess, my only requirement, and that it wasn't stark white because of my skin tone. I just wanted it to be kind of more of a porcelain moment, and I found the perfect one at Ann Barge in Atlanta. Shout out to my best friend Nevin's mom, Erin, who helped me find my dress. She's a queen. So that whole process got me very excited. That was the main question that I got asked about the dress was, how'd you know the one was the one? And that's how I knew. And then I got sleeves added onto it, and I saw that at the beginning of this year. So that's where I started, just finding the dress, having the families meet, and that was like my first tasks. And now we are 3.5 months out from our wedding. We are waiting in anticipation. We have almost secured every single last vendor. Your vendors are your cake people, your band, your restroom trailers, if it's going to be in a place where, you know, you don't have like a big public restroom for everybody to use. Also, we are having our wedding in a remote area. There's limited service. There's not really Uber. There is taxi services, but to make sure that everybody has an easy time getting to our venues, we have gotten a transportation service as well. So those are all kind of the vendors amongst many, many others that you have to kind of get secured. And yeah, literally right before filming this video, I had a call with my cake decorator and I signed my hair contract because I'm getting my hair professionally done and all of my bridesmaids and my maid of honor's hair professionally done. And then we're all just gonna do our own makeup and have a cheery old time. And then I just literally have to talk to my florist, and then we have everybody and we can just focus on enjoying the last few months of planning and getting ready for my bachelorette party and my bridal shower and all of the fun things. The last things that we really need to do at this point are figuring out fashions for people. So I'm talking mother and father of the bride and mother and father of the groom, ring bearer and flower girls and all of that. So that's really just the last stuff that we're focusing on right now. So winding it back to last June, after I got my dress, I was like, all right, well, I can't just wear the dress and expect a wedding to happen around me. How do I even start? Like, where do I even start with planning a wedding? And at that time, I really was leaning towards using my sister, my maid of honor, as my planner for the wedding. But then I realized, girl, you're trying to have a 200-person wedding a la carte, meaning you have to truck everything in because we're not having it at an all-inclusive venue, which would have bathrooms for people, maybe a planner that's even grouped into the venue that they work with. A lot of venues do that, is they're like, hey, and then we use this planner and she's included in the package of this big fee. But because we didn't have to pay for a venue, we're using Finley's family's home. We were like, okay, do we just like use friends and family to help us plan this big event? But then the biggest thing for us that made me jump into hiring a planner and biting the bullet and adding that fee into the budget was the fact that I don't live where I'm getting married. I don't know what the wedding vendor scene is like in rural Northern Virginia, you know? And Katie, my planner at Tilly and Teal, she knows the wedding scene. She's been in it for like 5 years, and she has people who she's worked with in the past, people she can recommend for literally every single category of what goes into a wedding. So I hired Katie, and I found her actually through my caterer. I forgot about that. So the only service that I found and hired on my own before I found my planner was my caterer, because the caterer is the biggest vendor at your wedding. A pro tip that my planner Katie told me for securing your vendors and the order in which you do that is think about who is going to be at your actual wedding day. These are the vendors who can't go anywhere else because they're going to be there with you. I'm talking photographer, videographer, if you want one of those, your catering company and their entire staff, as well as your planner, and your band. So starting kind of from that list, I was like, okay, getting my caterer secured is going to be a big thing and a big expense. It is the biggest expense of the wedding. So I did a little bit of research on Wedding Wire and I came across my catering company. By the way, I'm not gonna be giving out any of my specific vendor names until I know how they perform on wedding day, besides Katie, because Katie has already been performing. You know, she's already been working with me and for me technically since like July or August of last year. So that's why I was like, Katie, Tilly and Teal, she's an icon. She's also my friend, you know? We're getting along very well. And I love that aspect of hiring a planner. I can literally ask her any question about wedding stuff and not even wedding stuff, life stuff, head stuff, emotional things. So she's like my hired bestie through it all. So yes, on my own, I hired my caterer, and my caterer is who actually introduced me to my planner, because she and a lot of other catering companies, really anybody in the wedding business, has a list of other people that they know and they use, and they'll be on their list of recommended planners or recommended caterers or whatever. So that's when I started working with Katie. Was about a month or so after that. Planning with her probably started amping up around like October, was when we were 8 months out, and I would say 8 months is pretty much the timeline for most people of like a healthy amount of months when you're planning a big wedding. But honestly, a lot of people, they start planning a year out just like me, and it just depends on what you're into and how early you want to start the process. So yes, by October, I was kind of in like full swing of planning with Katie, and I did get some questions about hiring a planner, specifically one from Katie, and she asks, should you get a planner? And if you are asking yourself this question, should I get a planner? I would say absolutely get a planner. If you can afford it and put it in your budget to have somebody help you with the exact timeline, even if you are hiring a month of planner or a week of, day of coordination, look into having somebody who is going to help you execute that timeline, because they are literally hired just to make your day run smoothly. And I do believe that for our wedding day, it was the best expense to add that into the budget. Because the other most common question that I got was like, do I let my family plan my wedding for me? Or do I plan it all myself? Do I let my maid of honor or my bridesmaids plan my wedding with me? Who do I reach out to for help? And I already kind of highlighted why I decided to hire a wedding planner, but I would say if you can just use your family and you feel comfortable doing that, or using your friends or your wedding party or whoever to help you plan your day, definitely do that. You don't have to hire a wedding planner. I'm just saying that for us and for our guest count, this is what personally felt right to us, you know? But if it doesn't feel right to you, don't do that. But just know that asking somebody to help you plan your wedding, it's a lot. There's a lot to do, you know? So if you don't actually feel like anybody can dedicate that significant amount of time to you and your day and help you with it, then don't involve them and just hire somebody else to do it. Anyways, by like the October-ish timeline, so 8 to 9 months out, I was going through this checklist that I have on Aisle Planner. This is not sponsored, but Aisle Planner is the planning service that my wedding planner uses, and it's a paid service, but it's included in the payment that I gave my planner. So I have an account on here where I can see all of the things that Katie's flagging to me, and just how it's all broken down is immensely helpful, and I highly recommend using this service, even paying for it out of your own budget if you're not hiring a planner. Because on here you have a 12-month out checklist, 9 to 12 month checklist, 6 to 8 month checklist, 4 to 5 months, 2 to 3 months, 5 to 6 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, day before, day of the event, and after the event. So this is literally task by task, everything you could ever need. And I don't just love using it for the checklist. There's also a calendar. There's also a design studio on here where you can put like inspiration pictures, which I put those photos in that I had saved on Pinterest. And then my planner used those photos to make a 35-page design board for us, encompassing the vision in words and photos and color palettes and all of the things. So it was kind of like a fun process to go through that. It was like planning a mood board for the wedding, and then seeing her bring it to life in like a big document was insane, which then you use that resource to send it out to your vendors, like your florist and your catering company and tent and lighting teams and stuff like that, so that they can make the vision come to life, you know? Anyways, another tab on here is your guest tab. So you can input your list on here and check mark off if you've sent your invites, if they're coming to the ceremony and the reception or just one of them. And then you put their address in here, and you can also put which dietary restrictions they they have, their children, if they'll need high chairs, those types of things. So yes, for those of you who asked, we are allowing children at our wedding. And then this is our layout and seating. So this is a big tree, and then this is gonna be our dance floor in between. We'll have circular tables on either side, and then one big long head table down here for Finley and I in our entire wedding party. And then that will be facing the stage, and the dance floor will be like in front of us, kind of. And then we have 2 open bars, 2 buffet tables on either side of the tent, our cake table, and then like our guest book and gift table and stuff like that. So that's kind of like the general layout. And then this is probably the most used tab of this program for me, is my contact sheet. So you could make this in an agenda or something like that, but just for each category, having your contacts, their name, phone number, email, all of the things, and saving every document that you get, every contract, every invoice. And that's what I like about Aisle Planner specifically with this contact sheet. So let's use like my wedding planner, for example. So over on this side where I'm covering it up, it has like her personal information, like where to contact her and stuff like that. But then it has a literal chat tab right next to it. And you can drag and drop your contracts into there and be like, just signed this, here you go. And then Katie will go and email it off to the person for me. So it very much appeases the side of my brain that loves seeing things all organized. And then we have the budget tab in here as well, which is immensely helpful, okay? So I got a lot of questions about the budget. I'm not going to be sharing my personal budget like in an exact monetary amount, but I did a significant amount of research on like the average cost of a wedding in 2022. And a lot of the questions that I got that were budget oriented were just how to stay in budget. So the budget tool on Aisle Planner is super helpful for that reason, because you can see your overall budget in this kind of big long tab that's color coded. And the green part of that tab will say what you've already paid, what you've already sent people to secure them, because most vendors that you secure require anywhere from 5 to 50% of the total cost as a down payment to secure them for the day. And then in the red, you'll have like the difference that you still need to pay. And then separately, you have it categorized to be like, okay, catering, bar, and beverage, this is how much we're allotting for that. And then you can see the difference and everything like that. So it's super, super helpful. And then there's also a notes tab on here. So it'll have like a link to schedule phone calls with my planner, a packing list for the actual wedding, the production and setup list of like how we want it to look, our song selections, ABC licenses, marriage licenses, the ceremony's order of events, and all that kind of good stuff. But I would say I highly recommend Aisle Planner if you are not hiring a separate wedding planner, so that you can at least have all of this information on like an online planning platform. But again, you could get an agenda and do it handheld if you wanted to as well. That's what I originally planned on doing. Sorry, Rue wanted to join us. She loves girl talk. All right, now that I've talked about kind of the big umbrella of planning and what has helped that process and how I started that process to begin with, let's group off each event and talk about them more in depth and answer your questions on them. Starting with the engagement party. So we didn't really plan an engagement party or have a specific engagement party. I was told at a later date that our family's meeting in June was our engagement party. I was under the impression that it was Finley's dad's birthday and we were just celebrating for that. But then later in the night, his grandfather got up and made a toast, and my dad made a toast, and Finley's dad made a toast, and I was like, hold on, this isn't sounding very birthday anymore. This is sounding like the joining of two families and huzzah, you know? And then over the holidays, his mom was like, do you guys want to have a specific engagement party? Because I feel like that kind of was your engagement party. And I was like, you're right, it was. And no, I don't need another event. So instead of just planning like an engagement party focused event, we were like, scratch that, let's just do a bridal shower. And by we, I mean me. I want a bridal shower, you know? I feel like a lot of people kind of underestimate the power of a bunch of women surrounding you and showering you in love and affection. And I want that in my life. My grandmas, my mom, my aunts, the close women to me in my life. I'm talking bridesmaids, bridesmaids, my sissy, my besties. It's gonna be incredible. So I wanted to have that, and it's going to be sunflower themed. That's literally all I know. And then I told Lindsay, like, a hometown caterer that I would love to have cater the event, and Lindsay and my mom are planning that. So that's happening at the end of April at my parents' house in Georgia, and it's happening the day before our combined batch parties. So we decided, and I got a lot of questions about this, to do a combined bachelorette party instead of doing two separate events. It just made a lot more sense to combine them for us. We're gonna be doing it on the beach in Florida, having a big beach house spring break moment. You know? Sorry, I don't know why I did that. That was a lot. But I'm ready to get deranged. My sister and I had a 3-hour-long FaceTime the other week where we just discussed like all of the decorations and what outfits we want to coordinate and what photo ops we want to do, and if we need props or gift baskets, which I am doing those for my maids, but don't tell them I told you. Etsy is a safe haven for all of these things. It's really the one go-to resource for anything bachelorette or bridal party or shower or whatever oriented. You can find literally anything on there. But yeah, so we're having that beach weekend with our entire wedding party minus their plus ones. So significant others are not invited, but they are going to be seated at our head table at the actual wedding, because I feel like it's weird to just like throw all of the plus ones at like a separate table and be like, you can't sit with us, you know? Even though you came to the wedding with your girlfriend who's my bridesmaid. But yeah, I guess now that we're talking about like wedding party and head table and bachelorette party and all that kind of stuff, I'll just say how many bridesmaids and groomsmen we have. So I have 7: Lindsay, Nevin, Gina, Mia, Abby, Georgina, and Delilah. So those are Finley's sisters, my best friends from high school, and my sister, and I'm so fucking excited. And then I don't think you need to know all of the names of Finley's 9 groomsmen, but I'll do it anyways. He has my brother Colin, his cousin Charlie, and then the rest are pretty much all of his friends from high school or LA. So Stefan, Huntington, Patrick, Libby, Tim, Aiden, and his best man is Hayden. I feel like my hands and fingers looked really weird for this portion, so I'm just gonna end it off here. But Hayden is his best man who he makes music with, and I'm so excited for his speech. I'm excited for everybody's speeches. I can't just wait for the day. I am so over the moon, and I can't wait for all of these people to hang out. My sister pointed out to me that your wedding is the one day where just the weirdest amalgamation of people gets together. Both families, and then so many of your friends who live across various places. I've lived in 3 different places, Georgia, LA, and Oregon. So all of those people getting together on top of like our hometown Virginia friends and Georgia friends, and then family, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to just see all of the connections and see people talking that I've never imagined them ever meeting before. Like, okay. Anyways, I guess because we're on the topic of bridal party, I'll tell you what they're wearing, okay? Dear Cleo is the sustainable bridesmaid dress company that I found. It's all made to order in like 10 weeks, I think. And they actually are sustainable and affordable. Oh my God. The way that my body and soul felt when I found this company was so exciting. And I really hope the dress quality is as good as I am making it out to be in my head. I guess I probably shouldn't have said the name if we haven't really tried the dresses out yet. Some of my girls have purchased them already. Some of my girls haven't, so I need to check in on that. But they are wearing the pine color of dress on that website. So it is an emerald green, darlings. I'm having them wear different styles, but the same color. So I know it's very hip and trendy these days to have your bridesmaids wear different colors or, you know, a full palette or whatever, but I just didn't want to do that. I love the color emerald green, and I just figured that it would be very foresty and amazing amongst the ceremony trees, which I'll get into in a second, to have that color. So that was my vision, and I'm so happy I found that for them. And then I'm having them just wear like a nude strappy sandal or chunky heel because we're getting married outside. Literally all the wedding events are just all entirely outside for people's protection and safety. And then don't tell them I told you this. Hopefully none of my bridesmaids are watching, but I'm giving them a Georgina pair of earrings. They're not these, I'm just pretending like I have them on, but that will be the vibe. And then I'm just gonna have them get their hair done, and we're gonna all do our makeup together. So that's the plan. The groomsmen will be in a light gray suit with probably like light brown or camel brown shoes And suspenders, honestly, this is something that we still have to sort out, is finding the exact suit and like ordering them. So that's something that we're focusing on right now, but that's the vibe of what they'll be wearing. And my ring bearer will wear the same thing, but just in a toddler size. He's my cousin's baby. And so I just have to check in and make sure that gets ordered. And then my flower girls are the girls I used to nanny in LA, Jaden and Leah, and I still have to find their dresses with them. We've started the conversation, but we haven't finished it. And for my groom, my sweet floral pants wearing groom, he really wanted to wear a full floral suit. And so he's having that custom made for him. And he started the process this week, which is very exciting because apparently a custom suit only takes like a month to make. I don't know how. I thought it would take like 4 months, but it only takes 1. But at least he started that process and everything and is getting his designs down and figuring out exactly how he wants it to look. I think that's all of the fashion questions that you guys had, was who's wearing what color and when. And yeah, I guess I kind of got a little ahead of myself there and started talking about fashions and bridal party things, but I need to reel myself back in a second and talk about timeline and order of events for the wedding weekend. So traditionally, a lot of people just have a rehearsal dinner where they rehearse their wedding ceremony and then eat with their close family, bridal party, and maybe a handful of friends. I guess that could be categorized as more of like a traditional way of doing things or a simpler way of doing things, but it has become more popular to have a big welcome party the night before your wedding. And so that's what we're doing and what we really wanted to do, because we wanted to have a Renaissance fair themed rehearsal dinner. And then we realized this ain't no rehearsal dinner, this is a welcome party, you know? So we need to call it as such. Welcome party means everybody who is invited to your wedding is invited to this event the night before it as well. So we are planning this with Finley's mom right now, and I'm so freaking excited. Because we haven't been able to go to Renaissance fairs here in Oregon due to the panty, we decided to throw our own Renaissance fair, and it's gonna be like an outdoor event with like a freaking maypole and a full spread of gorgeous foods buffet, various hay bales. I'm talking mead drinking, axe swinging lords and ladies out there dressed in full garb, okay? So I'm still working on my outfit for that right now. So is Finley. We really need to finalize stuff like that because I just want to go all the fuck out. Renaissance fairs are so much fun because you can like role play for a night, and I just really hope everybody gets into it. Obviously, you can't expect everybody to like go full out, but we are highly encouraging people to dress in garb. So I hope some of the shy attendees will at least wear like a flowy shirt or something like that. I don't fucking know. But I am putting my Renaissance Fair Pinterest board on our wedding website for inspiration for outfits for people. But we are having that, and I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun. We're just gonna have like a buffet and stand-up seating where people can kind of walk around, look for activities to do, mead to drink, huzzahs to huzzah, glasses to throw. Just kidding, I hope nobody throws any glasses because we'll have to pay for that. So that's gonna be like a 3-hour or so long event, and we're gonna have time for toasts with family and eating and drinking with friends, and it's gonna be great. So now let's talk day of wedding, okay? A lot of people just hire a same day coordinator to make sure that everything goes smoothly, and you could totally do that if you wanna plan your wedding on your own. But day of, we're gonna be in separate buildings, so the groomsmen will be getting ready with Finley, and I'll be getting ready with my bridal party. And like I mentioned, I'm gonna have a hairstylist for them and for me, and we're just gonna be getting our hair did, doing our makeup together, and my photographer is doing an 8-hour day. So she'll be there for a couple hours of the getting ready process to get pictures of me and my girls. We are not doing a first look. That was a very popular question. A first look is basically where you see your partner and sometimes exchange vows with them if you want to do it in private before your ceremony. And your photographer, videographer, and maybe even your wedding planner as well would be there with you guys. And then you take some portraits together to get those wedding photos out of the way before the ceremony, so that after your ceremony, you can actually go and enjoy your cocktail hour in full. I just have a really burning desire to see Finley for the first time when I walk down the aisle. I just don't want to do it beforehand. But you know, whatever floats your boat. I know that it's a time saver. And then for the actual ceremony, we're gonna have it down by the creek on Finley's family's property, and it's where his sister and brother-in-law got married as well. And they were both like, yeah, you should get married there too. It's pretty much the best spot on the property. It's like under the trees, running water nearby. And there's a very kind of wide open field down there as well that's super flat, good for seating people. So we're gonna have the aisle facing like this really big tree and get married underneath that really big tree. But you wouldn't understand unless you see the wedding video, which I will be providing. I also got some questions about traditionality, what traditions we're keeping in the ceremony, and I would say that we're keeping it pretty traditional. I mean, we're gonna handwrite our vows to each other and then read them to each other at the altar. Our officiant is a family friend of Finley's family, and so he's gonna be there. Robin, I can't wait. And then I don't know, we're not doing anything like super out there for the ceremony, I don't think. I guess the only like random other thing for ceremony that I could mention is that we're having a harpist play. Not like a full trio or anything like that of, you know, string instruments or anything. Just one solo harpist playing her heart out. Her name's Zoe. I can't wait to hear her accompaniments. Is that what they call them these days? Let's answer the last most popular question that I got for ceremony, which is, will your dogs be in your wedding? Yes, absolutely. Will my pigs be in my wedding? No, absolutely not. They're not coming across the country with us to Virginia. I don't know why people aren't making that association. Because, well, we are moving with them when we move to Vermont, but that's after the wedding. So we'll do that when we need to truck them across country to move them to their next location, but we won't just be willy-nilly bringing them in a horse trailer home just to be like, be in my wedding for a night, you know? And then like leaving them while we go on our honeymoon, like messy, you know? So no pigs, yes dogs. After the ceremony, everybody else will go to cocktail hour. We'll take our portraits with just us two, and then maybe some with the full wedding party, some with family, and then get our asses on up to cocktail hour, which I'm very excited about. I got so many questions on food and drinks and all that kind of fun stuff. So I pulled up our full catering menu just to kind of talk about what we're going to be serving, if that's of interest to you guys. A little spoiler alert, if you will. If you're actually a friend watching this and you're coming to my wedding, maybe close out of this portion or skip forward to the next chapter just so you don't ruin it. You know, I kind of want it to be a surprise for you of like what delicious drinks and food you'll be able to have. I don't know, do whatever you want. So I forgot to mention this, but for our ceremony, we are having like a little welcome drink, which is lemonade. So when you come in, you can grab a glass of lemonade, sit down at the ceremony, be drinking it, and I asked for specifically glass, not plastic that we're just gonna recycle afterwards, because sustainability, you gotta show up for it when you can. I got a ton of sustainability questions, and I would say if you're worried about this, focus on your sustainability with your catering company. Do they compost? Are they going to allow you to take home unused food? Are they using local ingredients? Where are they from? Those kinds of questions. That's why I wanted to find my catering company on my own, because I know my requirements, you know? And you can advocate for less disposables and just reusables. So I'm talking real silverware, real glasses, not plastic, all of that stuff. So yes, at the beginning of the ceremony, lemonade. When you go to cocktail hour, we'll have 2 signature cocktails, one for the bride, one for the groom. And those are kind of based off of our tastes and interests. So my drink is the Georgia Peach, and his is a gin and tonic called the Forager. So I'm very excited about those. Those will be at our 2 full bars that will be accommodating cocktail hour. And then we're gonna have a charcuterie board and 2 passed hors d'oeuvres, which are shrimp cocktail, Finley's request. I also started eating fish again, so my request too. And then caprese on a stick. And then during cocktail hour, we are actually not having a separate band or hiring our harpist to play during cocktail hour either. I just feel like there will be so much like milling around and loud voices talking that you won't even be really able to hear the harpist. So we're only paying her for ceremony, and then we're just gonna plug in our phone and play my Jazz Mataz playlist on Spotify. It saves us money and it's easy. And to kind of round off cocktail hour activities, I'm not gonna give too many spoilers, but there will be games. So I'm excited about that. That's why I want to attend my cocktail hour. So I guess that's why people do first look, but I don't want to do a first look. I guess it will be an hour. So hopefully we can get through all the portraits fast. Anyways, after cocktail hour, then you go to reception. Reception, incredible. The most extravagant part of the evening for most weddings, I suppose, where you have a band or you have a DJ, toasts, food, everything, dancing, drinks, love, connection. What else should I say? All right, so here's everything to do with our reception. First things first, we are having a band, not a DJ. That was Finley's one request. He was like, I don't want a DJ, I don't ask for much in this planning process, and I want a band. And I was like, okay, then you find the band. And he found them. They're like a 5-piece kind of jazzy sounding poppy band, and I'm very excited to hear their repertoire. And we can suggest songs to them and all that kind of stuff. But a very popular question I got was, do you guys have a first dance? We literally have had our first dance song picked out since at least 2018. Not to be dramatic, but we've been new. And I'm not gonna spoil it. Obviously, you'll probably see in the wedding video or other various things that are shared from that night, but I'm very excited about that. So traditionally speaking, you would come out, they would announce you as a couple, you would have a little first dance moment, and then you would go to the buffet. So we are doing a buffet, and I want to share all of the wedding buffet menu with you, but I don't want to say every single ingredient. So I'm just going to say summer garden salad, wild caught salmon, chicken piccata, orchetti pasta with pesto, stuffed eggplants, sauteed vegetables, bread and butter, and coffee and tea service during cake. I think I mentioned this before, but I just had my first call with my cake decorator today, and we talked about like what flavors I want and stuff like that. But all I want is a 3-tier white cake with some funky fungi touches, if you know what I'm saying. And she is so excited to bring that dream to life, and I just know it's gonna be so freaking cute. I still need to find my cake topper and my cake serving set because I want both of those things as souvenirs, keepsakes, if you will, to bring home. Anyways, we have our first dance, we eat dinner, and then I think you do toasts, but I think after dinner I have my dance with my dad, which I am doing, and I already know the song, and I already showed it to him and cried when I showed it to him, so I know I'm gonna cry during the dance. Again, not spoiling that. Finley is still marinating on what he's gonna dance to with his mom, but we are going to do both dances like that. And I am going to do a bouquet toss, but we are not doing the garter toss. It's fine if you did it. I'm not judging you. I just personally feel like it's weird for my husband to shoot a pair of my basically underwear into a raging crowd of men. Like, what? Anyways, then I think after that, we'll be dancing it up with our band and all of our friends. Like I said, our photographer and our videographer are both actually doing 8-hour days. So they'll be getting kind of footage of all of these events for wedding videos and wedding portraits, which you will see across all of my social media. And then we plan on the reception ending like around 11, and the shuttle buses that we've hired for transportation to get people back to our hotel blocks that we have reserved. I think that those are running like a couple times throughout the night, but the last one I'm pretty sure is at like 11 p.m. And then Finley and I are not staying on the property that night. We're getting a hotel separately, a little sweetheart suite, if you will, since we're not doing a sweetheart table. We're gonna have a sweetheart suite at the end of the night. But I don't think that we're doing like a sparkler send-off or like a confetti moment or anything like that. And then we are not having an after wedding weekend brunch. That's probably one of the more untraditional things that I'm doing, is no brunch. People are gonna be like, what the hell, where do I eat? Well, you'll have to go to the things to do portion of our wedding website and be like, what does Meghan and Finley recommend? And then our plan is to not leave for our honeymoon until that following Monday. So wedding night is Saturday night. We'll have all of Sunday to kind of send people off and see people out. And then Monday morning, we'll go on our honeymoon, which, if I'm being honest with you guys, we have not booked. So if you have any suggestions on an iconic honeymoon location that's not too far across the world and will let us in as fully vaccinated and boosted people, then let me know in the comments below. And actually, this is a question that I've been getting a lot, like what is the one thing that's been kind of the hardest part about planning? And as much as I don't want to admit it, it's the making time for just us stuff. We need to plan more of our honeymoon and where we're gonna sleep that night and what our send-off is gonna look like if we have one, and maybe the day after, but that kind of stuff is what we're doing now. But yeah, I would say the hardest part of wedding planning is like truly finding time for yourself, which sounds so annoying and sad, but it's also true. Like, it's very hard to just not focus on all of the party details and how much each thing costs. Like, it's so easy for me to focus on all of that, but it's so much harder to be like, wait, where are we gonna go and spend a week? It's just like there's so many options, I guess, and I don't know where to start. And Finley and I both are like, well, we want to like relax on our honeymoon and we don't want to really like pack it in full of activities. So we want it to be like a pretty chill time where maybe we can like lay on the beach somewhere. And I don't know. As you can tell, I still have a couple things to do and I would love your help. And to end off this very long video, I'm just going to answer some of your questions and just make sure that I've covered all of the things that you guys are really asking about. So I'm going to start with some Patreon questions. The number one concern question that I actually got over both platforms is, are you worried about not being able to see and talk to everybody with having a big wedding? I'm not really worried about this. I just don't think it's realistic for me to worry about like what every conversation with every person is going to be or how I'm going to see everybody and like stress about that. I'm just going to naturally have my day and naturally have conversations with people as they come up. I don't think that it's something that I should really focus on worrying about or anything like that. I also got asked a lot to share the aesthetic of my wedding and my color palette and stuff like that. Like, what is it going to look like? I'll put a photo of my color palette down here, but if you want to know like my aesthetic and inspiration, my Pinterest board for my wedding is public. So you can go ahead and go peruse all of that. I also have a Pinterest board for the Renaissance Fair welcome party, which isn't as geared toward a specific color scheme. It's just kind of like outfit inspiration and cool looks and the general vibe that I want. But both of those boards are available for your viewing pleasure publicly on my Pinterest. Flavia asked me if I have decided on a design for our wedding bands. And no, we don't have a specific design really in mind, but we are going to be working with a local jeweler tomorrow, actually, on kind of starting the process of making our wedding bands, because he said it only takes about a month. I mean, depending on what kind of style you want and how time consuming that experience is with making it. Like, if you want a really crazy design, it'll take longer. I mean, it really just depends on the place, but we are starting that process tomorrow, which is very exciting. Other questions I got were, what is our wedding china? Like, what are our dishes? Because a lot of people ask for wedding china, and my wedding china is this design. It is the blue Renaissance gold pattern from Wedgwood. I got one piece of it for Christmas 2 years ago, and ever since then I've been like, that's my wedding china, because it has little O's all over it, or the pattern looks like O's, and my new legal last name will be Orstrom. So very exciting stuff. I also got questions about that. Am I keeping my last name or changing it? Across all my social media, you will still be able to find me as Meghan Hughes. But if you click on my profile, it will say Meghan Hughes Orstrom. And legally speaking, my name will be Meghan Orstrom, which is crazy to say out loud. But I think just for social media reasons, I'm just gonna keep it same old for username's sake. This is a good question. What are you most excited about decor-wise? I am excited about all of my gold accents. We're gonna be using like gold mirrors and writing on them with chalkboard paint, so we can have like our menu on there for our signature cocktails at the bar. And then we're also gonna use those on like easels around as signs pointing to like, hey, the reception's over here, cocktail hour over here, bathrooms this way, kind of a thing, you know? So we're gonna be using gold mirrors for that. And I'm excited just to see all of the golden candlesticks on the tables with all of the greenery. I'm just excited to see what the reception like vision looks like, because in my head, I'm like, wow, that's iconic. And I think in person, especially, like I'm doing a little something different with the tables, and I can't wait to see it. I don't want to spoil what I'm doing for the tables, but I'm very excited. All right, I'm gonna answer two last questions. The first being, did you have a clear vision for the wedding, or did it become clear over time? So I would say to this, yes, I had a clear vision of the wedding. I just feel like after seeing our venue last June, like the month that we're going to be married in, we were like, it's very nice and green out here. Yeah. And then that kind of helped us choose our theme, if you will, and color scheme. I don't know. It all just kind of fell into place. And then the last question I'm going to answer is, so far, would you recommend having a full send wedding or eloping / doing a small ceremony? And honestly, my answer to this question is going to sound very corny and cheesy, but do what is right for you, okay? Just for us, we had both dreamed of having a big wedding. We always saw a big event happening for us. us, but if you don't see that kind of an event happening for you, you don't want the stress of it, you don't want to deal with, you know, finding your vendors and going about the whole process and making it this big deal, elope. Or just do a small ceremony with like your besties and your family. This is such a personal thing to advise people on, and I don't know the right answer for you. If you are intrigued by anything I've talked about today, or you love organizing or hosting or planning events or whatever, and that part of your brain is like very turned on and excited about that idea, have a big wedding. But if you don't want that, don't have that. I can just speak for us personally and say that we are very excited about hanging out with all of our friends and family on a more grand scale, I suppose, this summer, and just having a bigger event because it's what we always dreamed of. And any other questions that you have for me about this process, you can leave them down below. If I didn't answer something that you are really wondering about after this, hour-long video, I'm sorry for it being so long, by the way. I just had so much to talk about. Maybe after my wedding, I'll make another video being like, what I wish I knew before my wedding or something like that. So let me know what you want to see in regards to wedding planning content. Thank you if you watched this entire video. You're a real one. All right, y'all, you can find me on Twitch or on Patreon when I am not here on YouTube. Love you. See you in the next one. Stay smiling. Bye, y'all.